everyone and welcome back to my channel. In my previous video, we have talked about the 3 measures of central tendency. If you haven't watched that video yet, please click the suggested video above. For this video, we are going to talk about shapes of distribution, where we should use the measures of central tendency. But before we proceed to our next lesson, let's have a review about the measures of central tendency. First, the mean or the arithmetic mean is the average, the median is the middle score, and the mode is the most frequent appearing data. So far, we have discussed 3 measures of central location: mean, median, and mode. Now the question is, which one should I use? The answer is depends. It depends on the shape of the distribution, whether it's symmetrical or skewed. For symmetrical distribution or normal distribution is a distribution that has most of the data in the center with decreasing amounts evenly distributed to the left and the right. This is what a normal distribution or symmetrical distribution looks like. Symmetrical distribution includes some large observations, some small observations, and some observations fall in between. It is also called normal distribution or no skew distribution. For example, the age distribution of a group of residents in a city probably follows symmetrical distribution. There are some kids, some elder people, and then mostly are people of adulthood. So the frequency polygon will look like a bell-shaped curve. In a symmetrical distribution, mean, median, and mode are very close to each other, so you can use either of them as a representation of the average. In this illustration, this is a normal distribution. If you can see, it looks like a bell, and that's why it's called the bell-shaped curve. And the median, mode, and mean is normally equal to each other or very close to each other in terms of value, of course, and is denoted as mean is equal to median is equal to mode. Our next type of distribution is the skewed distribution. A skewed distribution is a distribution with data clumped up on one side or the other with decreasing amounts trailing off to the left or the right. This is an example of right skewed distribution. Most of the data are on the left side and the tail or less data on the right side. Therefore, it is right skewed. This is an example of a left skewed distribution. Most of the data are located at the right side of the distribution, and its tail is located on the left side. Now it is called the left skewed distribution. Remember to identify whether it is positively skewed or negatively skewed, right skewed or left skewed. Right skewed is also a positively skewed distribution. The tail is on the right side. Left skewed is also a negatively skewed distribution. The tail is on the left side. For positively skewed distribution, it is a distribution that is composed of mostly small observations and a few relatively or extreme large observations. It is also called right skewed distribution. For example, test scores on a very difficult exam probably follow positively skewed distribution because most of students probably will score quite low and only a few students probably will score high. To this date, I still remember one of my mathematics exam. We have over 120 students. Over 115 scored 20 to 50 out of 100. Only less than 5 scored 70 to 80. For this skewed distribution, median is the one to use since it is not influenced by a few relatively very high scores. In a positively skewed distribution, mean is greater than median since mean is influenced by few relatively very large scores. This is an example of a positively skewed distribution. So for positively skewed distribution, most of the students Based on our example earlier, most of the students will score low. So the mode is normally or usually lower than the median, and the median is lower than the mean, which means that most scores are low and mean is greater than the median, and the median is greater than the mode. For positively skewed distribution, median is to be used.
Please click the subscribe button and bell button for notifications. Thank you.
For a negatively skewed distribution, it is a distribution composed of mostly large observations and a few small observations. It is also called left skewed distribution. For example, test scores on a very easy test of some general education courses will probably follow a negatively skewed distribution. Most of the students will do very well, but a few students may never come to class and will score very poorly. So test scores will be composed of many high scores and a few relatively very low scores. In this case, median should be used instead of mean, since it is not influenced by a few relatively very low scores. In a negatively skewed distribution, mean is less than the median, since mean is influenced by a few relatively very low scores. This is an example of a negatively skewed distribution. If you will notice, most of the scores are clumped up on the right side because most of the students will score high. That is our mode. Then our median in the middle, and our mean is located somewhere in the center of the table. So, which means most scores are high and the mean is less than the median is less than the mode. For a negatively skewed distribution, we use the median. Now let's sum it up. Our shapes of distribution first is a symmetrical distribution, or a normal curve, a bell curve, or a no skew distribution. We can use any of the three measures of central tendency: mean, median, and mode. For skewed distribution, we have positively skewed distribution, which is also called right skewed, and we should use the median as a measure of central tendency. Remember, in a positively skewed distribution, most scores are low. For a negatively skewed distribution, which is also called left skewed, we still will be using the median as a measure of central tendency, and remember that in this case, most scores are high. And that's the end for this video about the shapes of distribution. I hope you have learned a lot. My next lesson will all be about measures of variability. Stay tuned and thank you for watching.